So today, we are discussing Chapter 9, the stakeholders and quality. Now imagine you are the project manager for the new Manila International Airport project in Bulacan. Okay? So you have multiple stakeholders with very different interests and definitions of quality. Let's say, for example, the Department of Transportation. It defines quality as something meeting international aviation standards and completing on schedule. And then the international airlines. It defines quality as it wants world-class facilities, efficient operations, and quick turnaround times. On the other hand, the local farmers. It wants that the local farmers whose land was acquired wants to have fair compensation and alternative livelihood programs. And then you also have your Metro Manila residents. It wants reduced traffic congestion and affordable access to new airport. And then your Bulacan residents. They are concerned about noise pollution, environmental impact, and job opportunities. And then the other one, the tourism industry. It wants facilities that will boost the Philippines' image internationally. Now, here is the challenge. Each of the group has completely different expectations of what constitutes project success and what constitutes or what quality outcomes means for them. Now, having that said, how do you define quality when stakeholders have conflicting expectations? Now, can this project be considered successful if it satisfies the and government and airlines but displaces farmers inadequately? Now, this chapter mentions that satisfaction equals perception minus expectation. In our airport example, if farmers expected generous compensation but received minimal amounts, their satisfaction will be negative regardless of how technically excellent the airport is. Okay, so now let's examine this bridge model and see how it applies to real project management. Okay, so think of our Manila International Airport project as we walk through this. Okay, so this model shows us that quality is not just one thing. It is actually a combination of two perspectives connected by a bridge. On the left, okay, kindly focus on the bridge. We have the internal perspective. This represents everything the project team controls directly. For our airport project, this means following aviation safety standards, meeting technical specifications for runways and terminals, staying on budget, and delivering on time. So it is about conformance to procedures and technical excellence, the engineering side of quality. Now on the right, we have the external perspective. So this is about managing communications and relationships with all our stakeholders. Now for the airport, this means keeping the Department of Transportation informed, addressing community concerns about noise and displacement, managing media relations, and ensuring that quality improvements can be justified in our business case. But here is where it gets interesting. The bridge at the top represents the stakeholders' actual opinion. So this is where they combine what they observe about our technical performance with their experience of how we have treated them throughout the project. So farmer whose land was acquired doesn't separate our technical competence from how respectfully we handled his relocation. So in his mind, this become one overall assessment of project quality. So this means we can have a technically perfect airport that stakeholders consider a failure, or conversely, we might have some technical issues but maintain stakeholder support through excellent communication and relationship management. So the bridge is where perception meets reality, and it is ultimately what determines whether stakeholders consider our project successful. Okay, so now let us get practical. How do we actually apply this bridge model when planning a project? Let me walk you through the steps, okay? And we will continue using our Manila International Airport example. So step one focuses on the internal perspective, getting our own house in order first, okay? We start by defining clear project procedures and quality standards. So for the airport project, this means establishing specific protocols for construction quality, safety inspections, and milestone deliverables. So we are essentially creating our project playbook. Next, we establish metrics for for internal efficiency. So how will we measure our progress? Now, in our airport case, this might include tracking construction completion percentages, budget variance, safety incident reports, and schedule adherence. Now, these are the numbers that tell us whether we are executing well internally. Now, the third point is developing a comprehensive project plan that ensures fitness for purpose. Now, this is crucial. Our airport needs to actually work for its intended use. It is not enough to build something technically correct if it doesn't serve travelers effectively. So our planning must consider passenger flow, baggage handling efficiency, airline operational needs, and future capacity requirements. And finally, we set technical excellence goals and criteria. Now, for the airport, these actually means defining specific standards that go beyond minimum requirements, perhaps aiming for LEED certification for environmental sustainability, or targeting specific passenger processing times that will exceed industry benchmarks. So have you noticed that everything in step one is about what we can control as project managers? These are internal decisions about how we will execute the project. But remember, this is only half the equation. Our technical excellence means nothing if our stakeholders do not perceive value from the project. So let us now move to step two, the external perspective. So this is where many projects succeed or fail, regardless of their technical merit. Okay? So first, we identify all stakeholders, both internal and external to the organization. So for our Manila International Airport project, this is extensive. We have government agencies like DOTR, CAAP, and local government units in Bulacan, displaced communities, airline companies, airport workers, the passengers, environmental groups, and even competing airlines like NAIA. Okay, so each group has different interests and levels of influence on our project success. And then next, we conduct stakeholder analysis in order to understand their expectations and influence. Now, what does each group really want from this project? The Department of Transportation wants a world-class facility that enhances the Philippines' aviation capacity. The displaced farmers want fair compensation and alternative livelihoods. The airlines want efficient operations and cost-effective facilities. Environmental groups want minimal ecological impact. Well, understanding these expectations early helps us manage them proactively rather than reactively. So the third step is developing a communication plan for regular stakeholder engagement. Now notice the diagram shows this as a continuous cycle. Now we identify stakeholder communication needs, develop our strategy and matrix, create a communication schedule, then implement with ongoing adjustments. Now for the airport project, this might mean monthly community meetings for affected residents, quarterly briefings for government agencies, and real-time updates for airlines during construction phases. And finally, we include quality costs in our project budget and business case. So this is often overlooked, but take note, it's crucial. The quality is not free, okay? We need to budget for stakeholder engagement activities, community programs, environmental mitigation measures, and potential issues that arise from poor stakeholder relations. So these costs need to be justified upfront, not discovered later when problems emerged, okay? So the key insight here is that external quality management requires as much planning and resources as internal quality management. So you cannot just hope stakeholders will be satisfied. You need to actively manage their experience throughout the project's life cycle. So now we reach step 3, the bridge, which represents the overall quality view. So this is where the internal and external perspectives come together in the stakeholder's mind. So notice the sticky note, okay, that says review. So this is intentional because the bridge requires continuous monitoring and adjustment. So the first point is creating a quality management plan that addresses both objective and subjective quality elements. So for our Manila International Airport project, objective elements might include runway, specifications, terminal capacity, and safety certifications. So, but subjective elements are equally important. How do passengers feel when they use the facility? Do local communities feel respected throughout the construction process? Do airlines find it pleasant to operate from this airport? Our quality plan must account for both measurable standards and stakeholder perceptions. Okay? So that's it. Those are the questions that you have to consider for you to be able to make sure that your quality plan must account indeed for both your measurable standards as well as your stakeholder perceptions. Now, the second point focuses on defining how stakeholder perceptions will be measured throughout your project. We cannot just assume stakeholders are satisfied, okay? We cannot do that. We need systematic ways to gauge their experience. This might include regular surveys of affected communities, feedback sessions with airlines during construction, passenger experience studies, and social media monitoring for public sentiment. So the key is establishing these measurement mechanisms early, not waiting until problems arise. Okay? And finally, we plan for regular quality reviews that consider both internal standards and stakeholder feedback. So this creates a feedback loop where we continuously assess whether our technical execution is translating into stakeholder satisfaction. So if our internal metrics show we are performing well, but stakeholder feedback is negative, now we know there's a disconnect, okay, that needs addressing. So the bridge concept reminds us that quality is ultimately determined by stakeholder perception, not just technical specifications, okay? And a technically perfect airport that communities resent due to poor consultation processes will be considered a failed project. So regardless of its engineering excellence, okay? So this integrated approach, strong internal execution combined with active stakeholder management, is what creates truly successful projects. So the bridge doesn't build itself. It requires deliberate effort to connect technical performance with your stakeholder experience. So step 4 is integration. It is bringing everything together. So 3 key actions here. First is ensure your project charter includes quality objectives from both internal and external perspectives. So do not just focus on technical specs. You have to include stakeholder satisfaction goals, okay? Now, second is you have to develop a comprehensive quality management plan that assigns specific roles for both technical quality and stakeholder management. Someone needs to own each aspect, okay? Now, the third one is plan continuous stakeholder engagement throughout the entire project lifecycle. So quality management is not a one-time activity. It requires ongoing attention to both performance standards as well as your stakeholder perceptions. Okay? So the bottom line here is you have to integrate technical excellence with stakeholder management from day one. Both are essential for project success. So this integration approach ensures you build the bridge between what you deliver and what stakeholders actually value. Okay? So you have to remember, a technically perfect project that stakeholders reject is still a failed project. So step 5 is measurement and control. It is the ongoing monitoring phase. So notice the performance gauge image. So these actually represents the continuous assessment we need throughout the project. So we establish key performance indicators that reflect both internal quality standards and stakeholder satisfaction. So for our Manila International Airport project, internal key performance indicators might include construction milestone, completion rates, safety incident frequency, and budget variance. But take note, we also need external key performance indicators like community satisfaction scores, airline feedback ratings, and passenger experience metrics during testing phases. So the second point emphasizes planning regular project health checks that assess quality from both internal as well as external viewpoints. So I want you to think of this as taking the project's vital signs regularly, not just at the end, okay? So we might conduct monthly technical quality audits while simultaneously running quarterly stakeholder pulse surveys. So the performance gauge reminds us that quality management is not binary. It is just good or bad. We need nuanced measurements that help us understand where we are performing well and where we need improvement. So if our technical execution is excellent, but community relations are poor, The gauge helps us see that imbalance and take corrective action. Okay? So this measurement approach ensures we can make course corrections throughout the project lifecycle rather than rather than discovering problems only at project completion. So the bridge model works best when we are constantly monitoring both sides and adjusting our approach based on what the data tells us. So remember, what gets measured gets managed. So without systematic measurement of both technical performance as well as stakeholder satisfaction, we are essentially flying blind on the quality front. So now let us look at the two fundamental aspects of quality management in projects. So these represent different but complementary approaches to ensuring project success. Now, the first aspect is quality conformance planning, also known as quality assurance. So this is about ensuring minimum standards are met. Now think of it as the foundation. We are making sure we do not fall below acceptable performance levels. So for our Manila International Airport project, this means adhering to aviation safety regulations, meeting environmental compliance requirements, following construction codes, and delivering within the agreed scope and specifications. Now, conformance planning asks the question, are we doing things right according to established standards? So this involves creating detailed procedures, conducting regular inspections, maintaining proper documentation, and having clear quality control checkpoints throughout the project. So it is systematic and measurable. We can definitely say whether we have met these standards or not. So the second aspect is the quality performance planning, which actually focuses on managing stakeholder expectations and perceptions. So this goes beyond minimum standards to address how stakeholders experience and perceive the project. So performance planning asks, are we doing the things to create stakeholder satisfaction? So for the airport project, this means understanding what different stakeholders value most, managing their expectations throughout the project lifecycle, and actively working to exceed their requirements where possible. So it is about creating positive experiences, not just meeting technical specifications. Okay? So the image of the quality hands reaching up toward quality, so it represents this performance aspect. Stakeholders actively seeking and expecting value from our project. So both conformance and performance planning are essential. Now, conformance without performance can result in technically correct but unsatisfying outcomes. Now, performance without conformance can lead to stakeholders' satisfaction built on unstable foundations. So, the most successful projects excel at both aspects simultaneously. Okay, so let us examine the practical tools we use for quality planning and management. So these are the instruments that help us implement the bridge model we just discussed. So first we have here the project manual. So the project manual is a comprehensive document that consolidates all project information in one place. So for our Manila International Airport project, this would include the project charter, technical specifications, stakeholder requirements, communication protocols, risk assessments, as well as your quality standards. So think of it as the project's central reference guide. So the manual serves two purposes. First, it helps us plan systematically, and it demonstrates to stakeholders that we have thought through all aspects of the project professionally. Okay? So the second is the responsibility matrix. So it is our second tool. It clearly allocates tasks and resources across the project team. So this matrix shows who has primary responsibility for each activity and who provides support and who needs to be consulted or informed. So for the airport project, this ensures everyone knows their role in both technical delivery as well as stakeholder management. So it prevents the common problem of assuming someone else is handling critical quality aspects. And the third one is the communications plan. So this tool it systematically manages all stakeholder communications throughout the project lifecycle. So this is not just about sending updates, it's about strategic communication that manages expectations and builds stakeholder confidence. So the plan specifies what information goes to which stakeholders, when, and through what channels. And finally is the quality function deployment. It links customer requirements directly to technical specifications. So this tool translates what stakeholders actually want into engineering requirements we can measure and deliver. So it bridges the gap between stakeholder language as well as technical language. So these tools work together to ensure nothing falls through the cracks in our quality management approach. So they transform good intentions into systematic execution. Okay, so before we close today's discussion on stakeholders and quality, let us consolidate the key takeaways that will serve you as future project managers. So remember that quality is not a single universal concept. It is defined differently by each stakeholder group, and your success depends on understanding and managing these varied perspectives. So in our Manila International Airport example, we saw how the Department of Transportation, displaced farmers, airlines, and local communities all had legitimate but different definitions of what constitutes project quality. So the bridge model teaches us that effective quality management requires both internal excellence and external stakeholder management. So you cannot succeed with just technical competence or just good relationships. You need both, okay? So the bridge represents how stakeholders synthesize your technical performance with their experience of working with you. So the practical application actually involves 5 systematic steps. First is establishing internal standards. Second is identifying and analyzing stakeholders. Third is creating integrated quality plans. Fourth is implementing measurement systems. And lastly, maintaining continuous monitoring. So take note, these are not theoretical concepts. They are operational necessities for project success. And finally, remember that quality management is ultimately about managing perceptions and expectations. So the formula, satisfaction equals perception minus expectation. So this means you must actively shape both elements throughout your project lifecycle. Okay? So that's it for today. And I want you to remember, quality management is not just about avoiding problems. Take note of that. It is about creating value that all stakeholders recognize and appreciate. That is what separates good managers from exceptional ones. So that's it. See you next class.